This one's gonna hurt. So she cheated. Your world just imploded. One minute you're in what you thought was a solid relationship, and the next you're starring in your own personal disaster movie. That's what it feels like. And I'm not here to sugarcoat any of this BS. I'm not gonna tell you that everything happens for a reason. What actually happened is that she made a conscious decision, a series of decisions actually, to betray you. It wasn't an accident, and it wasn't a mistake, and it sure as hell wasn't your fault actually. So stop blaming yourself. Let's get something crystal clear right now from the jump. You are not going back. Write that shit down. Tattoo it in your fucking brain. There is no working through this. There is no rebuilding trust. There's no stronger than ever fairy tale ending waiting on the other side of this. That door just closed. And it's fucking welded shut actually. Bricked over and the building's been demolished. The sooner you accept this, the sooner your actual recovery begins. The first phase after discovering your betrayal, it hits like a Mike Tyson combo. You're going to go through denial, bargaining, depression, rage, sometimes all of them, all in the same microsecond. Your brain is desperate to make sense of something that fundamentally doesn't make any sense. You'll catch yourself running through your highlight reel of your relationship, looking through clues that you've missed, wondering if you could have prevented it somehow. Stop that shit. Immediately. She didn't cheat because you worked too much or didn't notice her new haircut. She cheated because she made a series of selfish choices and didn't respect you enough to either fix what was broken or end things cleanly. The hardest truth to swallow, the person you thought you knew doesn't exist. They never did. The girl who would never do something like this, she just did. Those late night text messages begging for explanation or closure, total waste of fucking time. You're basically texting a stranger wearing a familiar face. She's not who you thought she was. Period, guys. Let's talk about the bullshit she'll try to feed you. The tearful apologies, the it meant nothing speech, the I promise it'll never happen again, the blame shifting where somehow her cheating becomes about your shortcomings. All of this is manipulation designed to minimize what she did and manage the consequences. It's not remorse, it's damage control. Real remorse doesn't come packaged with excuses. If she's spinning a narrative where she's somehow the victim of her own betrayal, that tells you everything about her character. And the worst thing you can do right now, take her back. I don't care if you have a decade together. Share kids, just signed a mortgage. The moment you accept the cheater back into your life, you're announcing loud and clear, my boundaries are negotiable and there are no real consequences for betraying me. You think she'll respect you more after you've demonstrated that even your most fundamental boundary can be violated without lasting consequences? That's not how human psychology works, boys. People don't value what they don't earn, and they don't respect what they can easily manipulate either. Every guy who's ever taken back a cheater has told himself the same comforting lies. It was just one mistake. We have too much history to throw it all away. People can change. 5 years later, they're back at square one discovering fresh betrayals, only now with half a decade of additional investment down the drain. The rare exceptions don't disprove the rule. They just won the world's shittiest lottery. That's it. Instead of wasting energy trying to understand why, focus only on the thing that matters now, your recovery and rebuild. And this starts with immediate tactical moves. Number 1, cut all contact, not reduce contact, not just until it feels better contact. Complete digital amputation. Block her everywhere. Phone, social media, email, mutual friends who can't respect boundaries, block them. Every time you check her Instagram or respond to her text, you reset your recovery clock back to 0. It's not about being petty. It's about cutting the psychological space you need to heal. Number 2, and this will hurt you, get tested for STDs immediately. I don't care how much she swears it was just once or that they use protection. Cheaters lie about everything, including sexual health. Nothing says rock bottom like finding out she just didn't betray your trust, but also endangered your physical health. 3, secure your finances, separate accounts, change passwords, update beneficiaries, cancel joint credit cards. However intertwined your financial lives have become, start untangling them today. Betrayal rarely limited itself to just emotional realms. Okay? Number 4, and I know I'm going rapid fire on these, but keep up because you need to hear the full truth before you make a stupid decision like texting her back. Tell your truth to your support network once, then focus on forward motion. You don't need to become the guy who's still ranting about his ex years later, but you also don't need to protect her reputation. A simple, we're done because she cheated and I need support moving forward, tells people what they need to know. End of story. The physical separation is the easy part. The mental separation, that's where you guys get stuck. You've built your identity partly around becoming her partner, and now that identity is shattered. It sucks. The temptation is to obsess over the details. Who she cheated with, how many times, whether she enjoyed it more than she did with you. This is your ego trying to reassert control over a situation that you've been completely dispowered in. These questions have absolutely no satisfying answers. None. Even if you knew every microscopic detail, it wouldn't make you feel any fucking better. What actually helps is understanding that her cheating wasn't about you. And it wasn't about your performance in bed, your income, your dad bod, or because the other guy had a bigger dick or a better car. People cheat because of their own internal shortcomings, their insecurities, their need for validation, their inability to communicate honestly, and their fundamental lack of integrity. Happy, fulfilled people in good relationships do not cheat. Period. They communicate, they work through problems, or they end relationships honorably before starting new ones. The hard reality? Some people just aren't wired for loyalty. They're broken in ways that make genuine connection impossible. Addicted to the chemical rush of new romance, external validation, or forbidden encounters. They lack the emotional machinery necessary for deep commitment. And you could be the perfect partner and they still eventually cheat because the problem is in their wiring and not in your performance. And this is where most betrayed guys get stuck in the quicksand. They think that if they'd been funnier, more attentive, more successful, or given her more orgasms, that she wouldn't have strayed. That's false. That's just a convenient fiction because it implies you could have controlled the outcome. The truth is you couldn't. And the harsher truth is that you chose someone with a flawed character flaw and you missed or ignored the warning signs. That's your only real mistake here. Now, about rebuilding after being cheated on isn't just about getting over her. It's about taking all the energy you wasted on that broken relationship and putting it into yourself for once. Not to make her jealous or to regret her choices, though that usually will happen anyways when you start to ascend. But it's just to finally build the life you actually want instead of pouring everything into someone who didn't deserve it. Phase 1 of this, rebuild physical construction time. Your body is the one thing that you have complete control over right now when everything else feels chaotic. The gym isn't just about getting a better physique. It's about reclaiming agency. Every rep, every mile, every ounce of sweat is you actively choosing your direction rather than reacting to her betrayal. Physical training also gives you the neurochemical boost you desperately need right now. When your brain is marinating in cortisol and your self-image is in the fucking toilet, nothing resets your system faster than regular intense exercise, believe me. Don't just focus on looking better. Focus on performing better. Set physical goals that have nothing to do with attracting women. Train for the marathon. Learn a martial art. Take up rock climbing. Master Olympic lifts. The goal is developing capabilities, not just aesthetics. And the confidence that comes from physical achievement runs deeper than what you get from just looking better in clothes. Your nutrition needs overall too. Betrayal often kicks off a cycle of either not eating or subsisting on a diet of whiskey and takeout. Both are understandable, but counterproductive, boys. Your body needs quality fuel more than ever. Learn to cook if you don't already know how. Meal prep became my Sunday therapy after my experience with betrayal. There's something powerfully symbolic about nourishing yourself properly when someone else has treated you like garbage. The next one up is your mental rebuild. This one's one of the trickier ones. The software update your brain needs doesn't install itself overnight. You have to start by auditing your mental diet just as strictly as your physical one. What are you reading, watching, listening to? Consuming endless breakup songs or stalking your social media is the mental equivalent of mainlining high fructose corn syrup. It might feel good momentarily, but it's wrecking your fucking system badly. Replace those inputs with material that actually serves your growth. Books about stoicism, psychology, communication skills, and understanding female nature will help you make sense of what happened without falling into the bitter resentment. Podcasts from guys who've been through similar experiences and emerged stronger can become the voices in your head that you'll need to hear instead of her excuses and justifications. Consider professional support if you do need it. Therapists, coaches, men's groups, find what works for you, but be selective. You need someone who will help you process the betrayal and move forward, not someone who will encourage you to work it out or label your perfectly rational feelings as, quote, toxic. The right mental health professional validates your experiences while challenging you to grow beyond them. And your social rebuild is next. And it's often the most neglected aspect of post-betrayed recovery. Chances are your social circle contracted during your relationship. Maybe you lost touch with friends she didn't like, or you gradually spent less time on male friendships because you're pouring everything in your new relationship. Now it's time to reverse that trend aggressively. Reconnect with old friends who got sidelined. Join clubs, teams, or groups aligned with your interests. Say yes to invitations that would have declined before. Male friendship isn't just about having drinking buddies. It's about creating a community of men who understand challenges that are unique to your experience, who can call you out on your bullshit when you need it, and provide support without the fucking coddling. Be strategic about dating again. There's wisdom in the old saying that the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. But there's also a danger: rebound relationships. Those are band-aids on bullet wounds. Casual connections can be a part of your healing if you're completely honest with yourself and the other person about where you're at right now. Just don't use someone else as emotional Novocaine or inadvertently make them pay for what your ex did. Then you're just perpetuating the cycle. And the most successful rebuilders I know followed a simple rule: don't get exclusive with anyone until you've dated non-exclusively for at least a year after a significant betrayal. This isn't about playing games or avoiding commitment. It's about giving yourself the necessary time to recalibrate your selection criteria and bullshit detector. Think of it as rehab for your relationship skills. Your financial rebuild might seem unrelated to your emotional recovery, but it's deeply connected. Money troubles are often collateral damage in the betrayal fallout. Maybe you shared accounts she drained, accumulated debt together, or your work performance suffered during the emotional tsunami. Whatever the case, now's the time for a complete financial reset. Create a post-betrayal budget that prioritizes investing in yourself. This doesn't mean retail therapy or blowing your savings on revenge Rolexes. It just means strategically using your resources to improve your position, educational courses that increase your earning potential, relocating if necessary for better opportunities, starting the side hustle or business that you've been thinking about. Your financial decisions should all answer one question: does this make me stronger and more independent? The answer should be yes. And the last part of recovery is figuring out what you actually want from life. Getting cheated on tends to make guys question everything: their judgment, their worth, their understanding of how relationships work. Use that to your advantage. What do you actually want? What kind of life are you actually trying to build? What matters to you now? Those aren't some deep philosophical questions. They're practical. Without answering them, you'll either stay stuck or rush into the same kind of relationship before with the same exact problems. It's better to figure your shit out now than repeat that cycle. And the guys who handle this shit well don't just get back to normal. They end up better off, not because they're grateful for being cheated on, but because they use it as a kick in the ass to improve their lives. The process isn't a straight line, boys. Some days you'll feel like you're crushing it. Other days you'll be Googling her name at 2 a.m. like a goddamn detective. That's normal. Success isn't about never thinking about her again. It's about those thoughts having less power over you each time they pop up. A real win is getting to a point where you wouldn't take her back even if she begged. When you look at your improved life and realize that going back would be a downgrade. I've seen plenty of guys come out the other side of this. The ones who refuse to go back and stay focused on themselves usually end up saying, the breakup sucked, but my life is better now than when I was with her. You know, this rebuild isn't some poetic journey. It's just about getting your shit together and making your life better than it was before. Most guys find out that once they're a year or two out, they actually wouldn't go back to that relationship even if they could. They look at what they built and realize it's better than what they had, and the relationship wasn't working anyway, or she wouldn't have cheated. The betrayal just forced you to see it. Remember, you were fine before her, and you'll be fine after her, and probably better. Actually, mostly better. So just get back to work, dude. Get on the saddle. Everything will be fine. Just give it time. And for God's sakes, do not text her. Do not get in contact with her. She did the worst thing she could possibly do. She cheated, and you shouldn't forgive that, no matter what anyone tells you. Hope this one had some value for you guys. As usual, boys, appreciate you tuning in. Comment below cheaters if you enjoyed this episode. Help push it in the algorithm. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.